Boom, and then the spin move.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Welcome, people, to an extended episode of Go for Two on this Black Monday. No. This is the intro because this is depressing. All these coaches getting fired. You know, people losing their jobs.
We just do 30-something minutes. Nah.
So this one definitely, I wanted to talk to y'all about like what the fans should do going forward. Since there's only one person here who absolutely cannot stand Tua. Under any circumstances, he does not believe that young quarterbacks need to grow. He does not believe that anything about Tua is salvageable. So with that said, I'm going to introduce you all to the man, the myth, the legend, Jeffrey Creightney.
I appreciate such an eloquently stated intro. It is all true. I despise Tua. Yeah. But he will have another year.
No, that's not what I'm asking. What you think the Dolphins should do?
I mean, it's for me, it is what it is. I think they should go get Deshaun Watson, but I got to be able to play both sides of the spectrum. So what's the point of me just saying that and just making it? I'm not Juan. I'm not just gonna make it an open and closed shut case. Do this and do that. If they were to go ahead and give to another year, it'd be depressing. But what they should do, there are some things they should do to at least try to make it a decent season next year, because the schedule looks like another easy one that they're gonna have.
Y'all, like, let's just dip in the butt, right? If you have a chance to get Deshaun Watson, there's not anything that you can't hold back on trading any assets when it comes to getting a franchise quarterback who can literally change your franchise. Some people out there would say, he put up, X amount of numbers and they still didn't make the playoffs. But the one thing that a lot of teams like the Chargers don't have, even let's just say the Chargers, they did make the playoffs. Yes, Justin Herbert finished the same record, and I'm a Tua lover. Herbert finished the same record as Tua. They don't have to worry about a quarterback. Like, there aren't question marks. Like, they know, all right, man, at the end of the day, we can put the ball in his hands and we'll be okay, even if it doesn't result in us winning every game. But we know that we can put the ball in his hand and we'll be okay. And, for anybody rather love or hate to it, like, there are still question marks, right? So assuming we cannot get Deshaun Watson, Jeffrey, I would gladly let you know that I have completely jumped off the bandwagon of them drafting an offensive line ever.
I appreciate that.
I am completely off. I'm like, we have way too much cap space. And man, Kenny did a podcast. We did a podcast. We did not do a podcast.
We did one. It's not out yet. We did it.
We didn't talk about the offensive line.
We briefly mentioned this is how you got off the bandwagon, or maybe this was off camera.
It was off camera.
We were still talking, but maybe we wasn't recording. But I definitely remember us saying, just do it the other way. Just buy it, because we've given up on drafting it. So just buy it. We have the cap space. So just.
I'm with them, going straight up and taking offensive linemen through free agency, because two reasons why. Chris Grier sucks at drafting linemen. That's reason. You
could have just said sucks at drafting. You don't have to say.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna tell you why he doesn't suck at drafting, because he picked 3 players in the first round. All 3 players contributed at an extremely high level. I'm sorry.
30 picks.
Let me phrase that. In 3 drafts. I mean, 3 players in 1 draft that contributed at a very high level, which was Phillips, Holland, and Waddle. 1 draft, all contributed at a very, very high level. So I can't say he sucks at drafting, and then Robert Hunt was another really good draft pick. Unfortunately. I'm saying unfortunately.
Yeah. Not who went 2 spots after that.
Hey, I'm just saying, but
you know who went 2 slots after that, Kitty.
Who went 2 spots?
Jonathan Taylor went two spots.
Oh no, let's not get it twisted. We should have had Jonathan Taylor. That's not even a question, bro. Like, it didn't make no sense, because Gaskins is a really good.
No, he's not really good.
He's a really good back within the system. You can't say he doesn't because the way he runs hard, he runs tough, he hits the hole. Like he see holes, hits hole. He doesn't have a lot of moves. Like he's a really
doesn't
good
see holes.
back. Yes, he does. He
Like
see holes, hits holes. What I mean, like he don't have great vision. That's what I'm saying. Like he's a good rotational back.
Okay.
He fits in the system.
Okay, he does, at least he doesn't have vision. That's correct.
So the number one things that need to happen for the Miami Dolphins, whether or not Tua is a quarterback, is the offensive line. And in free agency, they need to throw as much money as possible filling out 2 positions. I don't care which 2 it is, but they don't need a center. Brandon Sharif is a free agent. He's only 30 years old. And we know offensive lineman could pay to their 100. How much money do you throw at Brandon Sharif? All of it. Then you throw the rest at Nate Salter, who can play left tackle. Cam Robinson. Who else? Terry Armstead, Dwayne Brown is another player that I think fits Miami because of the power running game. So they have a lot of options in free agency at the offensive lineman where you know how you can't miss. Like those are prospects. Those are NFL,
you can always miss, but I know what your point is.
I mean, but I'm saying it in theory, right? Because like these guys have already been proven, like they've shown, hey, put us in this position and we can work here.
I mean, we've had proven players fail on the Dolphins.
They never signed an offensive lineman, dog.
I mean,
they gave away linemen.
Offensive line. I just mean in general.
I know you're saying you feel like it's a curse, and I'm saying take all that crap aside. Brandon Sharif been the number 1 target, and then they should think about like players like Nate Salter and Cam Robinson. We need to get younger, right? We all agree on the offensive line free agency. They should forget the draft, dump all the money in offensive line free agency.
As a temporary fix, what I mean. I mean, I demand wins now, but then in 2 years, draft the fucking O-line to replace this.
No, for sure. No. These players that you could come in, though, all of them are under. Most of them are under. The oldest one is Nate Salter, 33, who is on my list of guys who they should get. Everybody else is in either 30 or in the 20s. I think another position they need to go after in free agency is wide receiver. Agree or disagree?
I agree.
Disagree with that.
Why do you disagree?
I think they should draft one.
I said and I'm saying they should do both. And I'll tell you why. Devontae Parker won't be there. Albert Wilson 9 times out of 10 won't be there. Matt Collins is just a deep threat. And then there's nobody else. And the thing is, you have a lot of young guys. So, Jeff, if you come into an NFL season, if we had Deshaun Watson, then I would say yeah. But let's assume we cannot get him. We're saying you have to draft, you should draft one. The thing is, then we'll have 2 very, very young receivers in Waddle and whoever we draft. To your point, this draft does have the type of players who can replace what Devontae Parker was supposed to do, who can line up on the boundary, who can do all the stuff that Waddle was doing now to allow Waddle to go over the top. Because Waddle was being used as a player that he was not supposed to be used for when he came in, which is a volume receiver. He was never supposed to be a volume receiver. I think this actually helped his growth because he's showing, no, I can be a 100-catch guy, but even though that's not what I'm supposed to be. So it can still be a volume target, but they need a guy who can take away all the underneath stuff so that it can allow him to explode over the top. So that's why I say draft the receiver, but also sign a veteran. And I mean somebody like Allen Robinson.
Hey, we did talk about Allen Robinson being a free agent. That being a decent pickup. But yeah, I think I'm with Jeff on the let's draft one. But I'm also, you said the same thing. I'm with you too, because you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Draft and sign. That'd be probably the best combo for
because you need a veteran. The thing is, you need a veteran presence in a locker room of a lot of young receivers, and I think that's what'll be missing. I think you need somebody who can kind of help them get, okay, that was year 1, so this is how you get over year 2, year 3, so on and so forth.
Isaiah Ford can't be the oldest receiver in their locker room.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So that's why I think they should sign one. They should go hard after somebody like Allen Robinson.
I just don't like that. I because the Dolphins have done that before, invested heavily in the wide receiver. I mean, they did it this year, but they did it before when they had when it was Devontae Parker, they had Jarvis Landry, they had
they were all what you just said. They were all young.
They had someone that was older too. I can't. I'm drawing a blank right now, but they had a loaded room of wide receivers. I think you should draft it because I think you should draft a guy because if Tua is going to be there next year, draft a guy that's more catered to. before the season started, I said they should draft confidence, but whatever. That is what it is. I think that would.
Yeah, but that don't really matter. Yeah,
I think that would have helped him a lot, and I think he needs a big running back. I think the less you put the ball into Tua's hands, the better it is for your offense. You know, he's not. They're trying to make him to be something that he's not. He's not.
They're not even throwing the ball. They're not throwing the ball though. So it's not even that.
We don't know. They've thrown the ball a lot this year. They threw more than they ran. Plenty of games. They only had 2 rushes.
Yeah, Jeffrey. They can't run the ball, and then you get behind.
No, they couldn't run the ball because why?
The offensive line suck.
Nah.
Jeff
Duke Johnson can't come in there and rush for 100 yards twice, and the offensive line is that terrible. They didn't pick a running back.
No, I agree. No, let's not get it twisted. It's a combination of not having a creative running back, but also the offensive line is trash.
Offensive line is bad. It is a bad line.
Yeah,
I'm
so
agree with that. I don't believe the historical part, but
Jeff, it's bad. Statistically, it's statistically bad. So, they need to. So all right. So bam. So offensive line free agency. Draft a receiver. I say do both, sign one and draft one. And when it comes to the draft itself, in the first round, what's your first round target?
Taking a linebacker.
Kenny.
I'd have to double check on that, see where we because if we're talking about realistically and where we drafting at, which I don't know off the top of my head where we're drafting at, then it's different from saying, "Oh, I want this, I want that," because it's not going to be there.
No, not one. So it's like position wise. Like, what do you think should be their target position coming to the draft?
I say just
first round.
First round.
Yeah.
Probably add somebody to that defense.
Got to be a linebacker.
Increase a linebacker probably maybe what we need for real, but
that's a good linebacker.
The defense where we at, you can build an offense later on in the draft and through free agency. Hit the defense in the draft first round.
And I'm gonna tell you, there's
especially if fucking Gerard Mayo get the job, he'd probably be good if a linebacker coach.
They don't need to get another defensive guy for this team.
I'm just telling you what the rumors is. Gerard Mayo is a heavy favorite.
Bro, let me tell you
something. Both the Dolphins and the Broncos job. So, hey.
I don't know how he's a heavy favorite when Stephen Ross straight up said, like, no, I don't know. You know, like I didn't have they don't know who they're going after. I don't get how he's a favorite, to be honest with you. Forget those rumors. That sound like an Omar Kelly rumor. So we picked 22nd in the draft, which that's linebacker, edge rusher territory. The only other option that's possible at 22, and there's only one running back that's worth it. And then even then, he's not really worth the first round pick, is a running back from Michigan State, Kenneth Walker.
They mentioned him. I'd take the guy from Georgia though.
See, this is the thing about this draft. There isn't like the top heavy guys. Like Kenneth Walker, even then, he's probably like a top 50 prospect, right? So he's a second round guy. But you could get a bunch of guys like you like, Jeffrey, like, Zach, what his name is, Zach Carmanet for UCLA, like 6'1", 230-pound guy. One of my favorite backs, he plays for Bama. In fact, if you ask me, we should be picking somebody from Bama every year. Brian Robinson, I think that's his running back name. And I think he's amazing. I think Haskins from Michigan, same thing, your type of back, 6'1", 230 pounds. So there are guys that they can take, and I agree. You want James Cook. Like, Cook is really good, but to me, honestly, games like this against Bama, how he plays to me matters, because I've seen Haskins, none of these guys are first-round picks. So like we said, okay, defensively, right, one of the guys who I really like is Devin Lloyd. He played for Utah. This dude is the quintessential linebacker to pair with Jerome Baker. I'm about to call him Justin Baker. I don't even know who that is.
I mean, but remember, Jerome Baker was supposed to be the perfect complement to Raekwon McMillan. So
yeah, but Raekwon McMillan did not plan out. So now Jerome Baker, he is the guy that kind of dominates the middle. And I think taking a player like Devin Lloyd from Utah, especially at 22, because his versatility, this is just me operating on the same type of defensive scheme that we have, assuming that whoever comes in, we're running a hybrid 34 defense. Preferably, I would like them to just go to a 4-3 and just move Wilkins to the 3 technique, and then have Phillips put his hand in the dirt, and then you have Emmanuel Ogbah. I think you have all the tools to play a traditional 4-3, and you can still use the cover 3, any type of shell defensive coverage that you want, because you have the corners to do that. So with shell coverage, you have the safety that you can do it with. You have the 2 corners that can press and drop in the zone. And I think if you come in with the 4-3 and build towards that, because we did play a hybrid 3-4, and just move Wilkins into a 3 technique, make him rush up the field. You put Manuel Akbar with his hand in the dirt, which is what he do. Put him at the strong side, and then you bring Phillips down and just let him rush off the edge. I think you have the makings, and then Baker can kind of play the outside back, and then you bring a guy who can play the inside, who can play off of Wilkins, who can take on guards, and I think you have the makings of a really good defense. I just went on a tangent.
Yeah, you sure enough did.
Yeah.
Still got my eyes on a couple targets, but I got to see where we draft, because it's not just about where your first pick is, where your first pick is relative to your second and all that, getting the most value you can. We historically draft terrible. We've been drafting pretty bad. Not you say it's okay. Me and Jeff disagree. We got a couple gems, but not enough. I want, because again, maybe because of how I intake my football, maybe because I've been watching what the Patriots do for years, maybe because we all talk about the draft all the time and we all feel like we got a certain education of it. We feel like we could draft better, and that's. I mean, I'm sure
a lot of fans do.
Most fans do, but I don't just say it just to say. I believe when I was like, "Oh, get this," and it's possible, and it always seems possible, and it's not just hindsight. It's we say it before, and then it comes after, and either they miss or they don't agree. But those people are still there, and then they pan out for other people, and it's like, hey, I could do this.
Two of the key players is Devontae Harris, Najee Harris, and Javonte Williams. Those two were really, really, really good prospects. And they had a chance to get obviously Najee Harris instead of Phillips, which I was okay with that. But they could have drafted Javonte Williams ahead of Holland and still got Holland later on in the second round based on how he was as a draft prospect, because a lot of people had Morningwig as a higher rated safety. So I'm like 90%. I would bet anything that they could have drafted Javonte Williams and then drafted Holland later because of how he was viewed as a prospect, except for with me, because I was a big fan of his. In fact, he was in my mock draft for the Fins as a second round prospect after Javonte Williams. With all that said, what's another target or weakness that you feel like the Dolphins has to make a strength?
Go ahead, Jeff.
It really, for me, it's that linebacking group. I feel like that's something they got to work on. It's finding a replacement for Byron Jones. You got to get up out of there expeditiously. That was probably that. But behind Fuller, he was number 2 as one of the worst signings by Chris Grier and Brian Flores.